Today we're going to try a new pizza from Great Value. This is wood-fired spicy pepperoni. They had a couple of different wood-fired pizzas that I saw at the store. I'm not sure when they came out. It's still got the new marker on it, but I don't know how new it is exactly, but we're going to try it. It's topped with spicy pepperoni, two types of pepperoni, low moisture, whole milk, mozzarella, Parmesan Romano, and basil. Now the other kinds they did have here, we had spicy barbecue chicken pizza and wood-fired Bianca, which is basically a cheese basil pizza, which actually looks really good. But we'll see how the wood-firedness of this pizza comes into play and how spicy the pepperoni is, and then maybe we'll try the others depending on how good this one is. Oven instructions: preheat to 400 degrees, remove all packaging, place directly on rack, 13 to 15 minutes, allow 5 minutes to cool, and that's it. So let's open it up. It's a little lightweight, 12.8 ounces, but I paid only $4.52, so in the realm of frozen pizza, it's about on par with other lower end frozen pizzas. It's maybe a little bit more, but Tombstone, Red Baron, you're paying $4 or $5 anyway, so not too out of line. Okay, that's why it has two types of pepperoni. We got the round pepperonis and the little julienne pepperonis on here. Honestly, it looks pretty good. It's kind of hard to tell with that goddamn light, but it looks pretty decent. Maybe a little more cheese would have been nice, but otherwise it looks pretty decent. I've already got the oven preheating. I'm going to put it in and we'll come back and taste it. But it seems like it's topped pretty well with pepperoni. Okay, here's a piece of our spicy pepperoni out of the oven. Cooked well, as all pizzas should be. Well done. I cut it in fours. This is actually a fourth of the pizza. Normally I would cut in eighths, but it's a pretty small pizza. Let's take a bite. Okay, I finished my piece here. I ate another one. I genuinely really like this pizza, but the first thing I have to say is that it's not spicy at all. There's no spice. There's zero spice. Maybe a tiny hint, but it might as well be zero. I don't taste any spice. If you don't like spicy food, you'll still be able to eat this because there really isn't any. It's got the spice of a regular pepperoni. If you think pepperoni, like regular pepperoni, is spicy, if you're at that level, then sure. But there's nothing spicy about this pizza at all. Now the crust is really good. See, when I look at the frozen pizzas, and generally all pizza, the first thing I always look at is the crust and the sauce. Like, those things to me are the most important two things. Specifically the sauce, but also the crust. It's hard to say which one is the most important, but to me a bad sauce will instantly ruin any pizza. I can deal with a bad crust kind of, but a bad sauce, no. The crust here, it reminds me very much of if you've ever had Red Baron's brick oven pizza. They're crispy on the bottom and they're pretty thin, but there's also a chewy layer above the crisp. And it's actually really good, satisfying. Probably the best way to do frozen crust, because I feel like rising crust in frozen pizzas never really works. Thick crust doesn't usually work very well. Now a thin crust, like a crackery crust, that can work pretty good, but it depends on how it's done. This kind of hybrid where it's crispy on the bottom and kind of chewy on the top, but still fairly thin, I think is probably the ideal frozen pizza crust for me, because I really like Red Baron brick ovens as well. Now the sauce is not the best, but it's good. It's not bad. It's not enough to negatively impact the pizza, but I don't think it really positively impacts it in any way. It's adequate sauce. The most important part is that it's not sweet sauce. A sweet sauce will instantly ruin any pizza in my mind. Some people like that. I don't. But it's not particularly savory either. It's just kind of there. Now, the pepperoni, as I said, not spicy, but it does have a nice flavor to it. It does have some kind of spices put into it that's not like normal pepperoni spices, but it's not spicy, it's not hot, but it tastes really good. The cheese is just generally like cheese. I can't really say anything special about it, but it just tastes like mozzarella to me. I know it said it was like all these other cheese mixtures, but it just tasted like mozzarella to me. But altogether, it becomes a really good pizza. Probably, in my mind, one of the higher tier of taste in frozen pizzas. I would take this over a lot of frozen pizzas. To me, it's up there. Even though it's only $4.52, I think that it's very, very good. Great Value has been doing some good things lately. Sometimes they're bad, they're hit or miss. I think they hit with this one, even though it's not spicy. I kind of wish it was a little spicier, to be honest, just because that's the name of it. Even though I don't like spice, at least a hint of spice would be something, but there's nothing here. So even though it says spicy wood-fired pepperoni pizza, it's just wood-fired pepperoni pizza, but it's really good and it's worthwhile to me. But I think that this is basically a one-man pizza. I don't think, unless you're like a very light eater, I don't think you're going to split this between two people because it's fairly small. But the taste is really good, and at $4.52, I think that it is worthwhile. Maybe get 2 if you have 2 people, because they're fairly small. I mean, 12.8 ounces is not much bigger than a Totino's pizza, basically. So the size is a little bit small for the price, but I think that it's a worthwhile value, and I think it tastes really good. So I'm going to give it a 4, a solid 4. Really good, spicy pepperoni wood-fired pizza from Great Value. Pick it up, and I'll see you next time.